Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV time where we carry on talking club rugby. A lot of excitement at the moment in the Western Province rugby circles, and for good reason. But before we get started, of course, big thanks to our partners on board with us. Score Energy Drinks, of course you can see the Score jerseys behind me now. You can win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks during the course of the show. MChem 24-hour pharmacy down the corner of N1 and Durban Road in Belleville. And of course, Thorburn Security Solutions, your one-stop shopping for special events services. We'll tell you more about that during the course of the show. Also, joining me on the show, Jerome Parvater. Jerome, welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back, JP. And as you say, Cape Town is still smiling.
Yeah.
I see Hachiva still got his kit on, so it's still going on.
Robert Werfel, Robert, head coach, of course, at Hamilton's. Robbie, welcome back.
Thanks, James.
I don't know if I can call you Robbie.
Always,
yeah,
that goes.
Roberto.
Awesome to be back, thank you.
Yeah, no, great. But Jerome, let's go back to you. I mean, I have to ask you from a Western Province rugby, before we start talking about club rugby point of view, I mean, this is a massive, massive milestone for Western Province rugby amongst, in a new competition format, winning it. And not just winning it with a home final. I mean, this is an incredible achievement for Western Province rugby. You guys must be over the moon on every level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guys did well, JP, and I think, like, especially for the people in Cape Town, they need this, and we all need this. And that was a great winning. There was a lot of sacrifices during this whole season or this whole campaign, to get guys fit and ready to play. And a lot of that was part of my job with the Currie Cup. Yeah. We were not successful, but at the end of the day, we were all successful in what we're doing to achieve this goal. The goal was always to win the URC, the trophy. And I think we achieved that. And I think a lot of people don't know what behind the scenes, what goes on. And I mean, you get a lot of criticism, but at the end of the day, everybody's smiling.
But it is definitely one of those pictures of where it is I mean, and we've spoken about this a lot. We've read about it in the newsletters. We've spoken about it a lot on TV, that there is a thread that runs through Western Province rugby from the under-13s to the under-16s to the women's rugby. You've been talking about this now for a number of years. It is a full team effort. Everybody shares experience. Everybody shares support services. Everyone's feeding players into the next squad. I mean, you guys really should feel thrilled and yeah, I think from the fact that we talk about it so often, it really is a team experience across the board for everyone in Western Province. Yeah,
it is, JP. And you were asking me earlier on about what are we doing now? Are we off? Yes, the players are off, but like we always say, we're never off, because myself and Nazim Adams, we're busy helping the Cravenby guys now to prepare. Yeah. So it just goes on, and that's the success of the union.
And Robert, I mean, you looking at it from a club rugby perspective and as a fan, and you know, how did it feel for everybody else out there?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, congratulations to Jerome, the Western Province, the URC guys. I mean, it's like it just waters down to club rugby, and it's good for club rugby in the Western Cape. Yeah. You have guys making references. Older club players that's looking up at these youngsters coming up in the URC, for instance, and then just they want to be them again. So I think rugby in the Western Cape is healthy. I think we're in a good space.
It really is fantastic. I mean, I think the last time, because it's interesting also for me, is that if we look at the progression of the tournament in this case, you know, I don't think of this as a new tournament. I see it as a bit of a shift from Super 12, Super 15, the new name Super Rugby. If we look at the progression of the Stormers from the days of the Men in Black through to the Super Rugby structures, the Sanzar structures of New Zealand, Australia, and now the format has just changed a little bit. You know, you're saying, and for many years people were wondering, when is Western Province going to, or the Stormers, when are they going to win it? You know, like, I mean, that was the big aim, and you've actually done it. You know, so it really is incredible.
No, it is. JP, in saying that, like from Super 12 or Super 14 or whatever you can call it, it was tough. The reason for being tough is the time zones. Like you go there and your players, it take a week almost for the guys to adapt, and then it's on the first game. Now you start badly if you're in New Zealand or Australia, then it just goes down, and then it's a negative vibe. Where the guys traveling now to the UK, it's easier. It's like an hour. It's actually nothing. So the guys adapt quickly, and it just suits us. This talks has been for quite a long time, and people think it was crazy, but it just shows that like it's worth to play in this competition.
Really good news for Western Province Rugby, folks. Right, let's move on to club rugby. Well, I'm sure we're going to be talking more about the URC Championship trophy that the DHL Stormers have now won. Tonight we're going to take a look at the match between St. George's and Franschhoek. We'll take a look at Unimog versus Brackenfell, of course, Super League A. And Hamilton's up against Hamlets. So we've got 3 games for you to take a look at. Of course, our first match is in Super League B. St. George's against Franschhoek. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. All right, there we go, folks. First half then, St. George's against Franschhoek, of course, playing at Gastro. Halftime score then, in fact, before we talk too much about it, Jerome, Franschhoek, Super League B, we already know this is a tough league.
Yeah, I think they're still doing well in this league, and but if you look at the game, it was pretty even. Like the defense was solid, and I don't know for some or other reason, but I think the field was a bit wet, so I think they played a bit tighter and played a bit closer. The Franschhoek 3 penalties now, 2 penalties in the first half, and then St. George's scored. They gave the ball a bit air, so that's the first half between the two teams.
Yeah, so St. George's leading then 10 points to 6 in the first half. Robert, just at a quick glance, I know we're going to take a look at the second half after the break, but at a glance there for you?
I've seen some of Franschhoek's rugby, so I don't think the weather maybe or the conditions suited them well. Like Jerome mentioned, they only took 2 penalties, and St. George's gave the ball a bit of air and scored 2 great tries. Yeah,
well, we still don't know what the end result's going to be. You have to stay tuned. We'll take a look at the second half of the match between St. George's and Franschhoek after the break. Don't go away. A lot of more rugby excitement coming up. Right, welcome back, folks. We are taking a look at the match between St. George's and Franschhoek. Super League B, of course, Very tough league at the moment. We're going to get into a lot of the conversation about Super League B in a second. Of course, you'll remember we had Chris Extian here from Helderberg on the show with us last week. We know Super League B is a crunch league at the moment. Probably what is by many recognized as the league with the tightest margins and probably one of the toughest leagues. Let's take a look now at the second half between St. George's and Franschhoek. They're playing at Gastro. And as Jerome said, slightly damp field. So we'll see now what happens with in the second half. And of course, St. George's having home ground advantage. The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, so there we have it, 27-9 Franschhoek, at least St. George's coming away with the points there. Jerome, your feeling on the second half?
Yeah, you can just see how St. George's took control in the second half. The first half, Franschhoek was scrumming St. George's a bit. In the second half, St. George's was scrumming them. And also what St. George's did well, they didn't just play the ball wide, they first set it up in the middle and then play it wide. So they basically earn the right to go wide. They don't try to force to go wide first. And I think the difference between the two is Franschhoek tried to, like we know how Franschhoek tried to play, they tried to play the ball wide immediately. So I think St. George's adapt according to the weather and they've actually scored some good tries.
Your thoughts, Robert?
Yeah, definitely a game of two halves for Franschhoek. They started well, second half had opportunities, just didn't take it.
Yeah.
St. George's, on the other hand, like Jerome mentioned, they used the ball wisely, set up their phases, sucked them in, scored the ends.
So, at this stage of the game, the difference between the two teams, is it a question of preparation? Is it a question of fitness? Is it the home ground advantage? Is it where would you put the two? Is it a combination of everything?
It might be a bit of everything, JP. I think home ground advantage today is something that is to the benefit of the club playing there. I mean, Jerome, we know our teams just get that little bit of a dip and they lose concentration, and next minute 2 scores behind. We watched that Franschhoek taking a great line break. 13 could have just ran straight, scored in the corner, tried to pop into the wing, got tackled, and 80 meters later they're back in their own 22. So maybe it was just concentration, maybe it just wasn't their day. Difficult to say in wet weather like that if it's a fitness thing or.
Yes, Franschhoek head coach Eddie Klutter as well as Franschhoek captain Morne Williams.
The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Ja, ik denk die competitive gaan er altijd aan wees. En ik denk op een of andere dag is het een geval van wie stikt sy hand op in die game in. Het is belangrijk voor Franschhoek zelf, in dit geval, om zijn hand op te steken. Als je zijn hand opsteekt, moet je verstaan dat die ouders komen met grote intensiteit naar de games toe. Ze komen met grote intensiteit naar oefeningen toe. En dit is waarover het gaat. Het gaat over de intensiteit waar mensen die game benaderen. Ja, kom ik beginnen daar. Zo eerst, ik denk ons defensive lines was een beetje gedisrupt geweest. Ik denk St. George is nog bij een goede span. Hij heeft gekomen met alles wat hij leert. De lijnen mooi geatikt. Elke speler heeft geweest wat hij moet doen. Franschhoek moest, kom ik 60 minuten defended van die hele game. En dat bewijst veel wat die scorebord is.
Ja, beslis die reën en die weer het is so 'n bietjie aan ons kant gespeel hier. St. George is ook 'n goeie rugby span wat goeie hardloop rugby ook speel. So miskien het vir hulle ook gewerk hier. Op die einde van die dag het hulle deurgedra om die W te kry. Maar ons gaan hard werk en ons gaan terug op die drawing board vir die next game. Ja, natuurlik ons maak vir die top 6. Ons is besig om hard te werk. En ons sal nie sê ons gaan vooruit praat nie, maar dit is ons mikpunt om in die top 6 te eindig, sodat ons die championships verder kan speel. Mens weet nooit wat kan gebeur nie. All the bounces of the ball.
This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Right, so Eddie Klutter and Mornay Williams still staying positive. Of course, aiming for the top 6. I mean, Jerome, that's where what you want to keep doing is you want to have your game plan right. The conversation that's being had at the moment is a question of strategy.
Yeah, I think what the coach said is like they just have to go back, Franschhoek coach, and they know what to do. So hopefully they can fix that and get the guys on track, because everybody now it's become crunch times to make the top 6.
Robert, it is a question about being analytical. You have to look at assess it without any emotion.
Yeah, you hear all coaches now talking about we're over the halfway mark now, so everyone's now aiming for the top 6. And I think that kind of puts a different kind of pressure, because if you know you need that 1 or 2 games to happen, and you started focusing on the wrong things and not focusing on game by game, then things go sour. You could see Coach Eddie was just disappointed. He mentioned the word intensity probably 3-4 times. So maybe that was just Franschhoek's off day.
Yeah. Well, let's see what St. George's coach and captain have to say. Gareth Isaacs and Dimitri Hendrick spoke to us after the game.
The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Ja, soos hy sê, dit was moeilik geweest man om die ouens by die veld uit te kry as aan die rugby is en dis wat ons nou ons is net dankbaar daarvoor dat ons weer kan ons talente kan uitleef, maar ons is lekker man. Ek hoop net dit bly weg. Ja, kyk, dit is 'n goeie fondasie wat ons gelê het die laaste 4 weke, veral met die game teen Franschhoek. Franschhoek is 'n swak span. Dit is 'n baie goeie span. En soos hy sê Renzel, dit is die fondasie wat gelê het en ons moet gebruik maak daarvan. Baie ons gaan nou net op ons laure rus en besef, nou okay, alles gaat in plek val. Ons gaan nog altyd moet harder werk. So it's exciting times, soos ek sê.
Ja, kyk, ek sê ook so vinnig praat goed op 3 of 4. Ons begin maar nou weer ons voete te vind. Soos jy nou voor soos jy voorheen die vraag is. Kyk, ons het 'n sadige begin gehad, maar ook 'n goeie begin om vir ons weer nederig te maak, om vir ons weer terug aarde toe te bring. En net om vir ons te wys, die vaders, God het weer vir ons gewys, julle is glad nie so goed soos julle dink nie. Begin terug by die basics en ja, ons begin maar nou stap vir stap, game vir game, weer by die basics. Ja, kyk, ja, dit is almal se mikpunt is die top 6. Om eerlik te wees, ek gaan nie nou al praat oor die top 6 nie. Ek gaan nou eers praat oor die next wedstryd. Kom ons vat dit van die next wedstryd af en dan kyk ons wat daarna gebeur. Maar van my kant af na Franschhoek toe alles sterkte, die league is nog vars. Alles kan gebeur, so boys enjoy.
This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Right, so
Jerome kan hom
stays positive. Jerome, wat jy lag so een kant.
Yeah, I just think what Dimitri was saying there is like everybody's now worried about top 6. But if you worry about that, you might not make it. And as you say correctly there, take it game by game and just play. Don't put your players under pressure now, because you can lose them if you put them under so much pressure, because everybody's worried about that. Take that away and just enjoy the game. You still have to have fun.
Folks, don't go away, because a little bit later in the show we're going to analyze the results and the logs and the fixtures. We're going to analyze that a little bit together with my guests today, Jerome Parvader from Western Province Rugby and Robert Olivier from Hamilton's Rugby Football Club. We're going to take analysis at the logs, results and fixtures towards the end of the show. So make sure that you stay tuned. We'll be back after the break, and of course we've got more match highlights for you as our next match we're going to take a look at is Unimog up against Brackenfell. Welcome back, folks. It's Cape Rugby TV time. Don't forget, as you can see behind me, the Score logo. You can win yourself a case of Score during the course of the show, where, of course, every week we run a competition on Facebook. We make a few changes to some of the photographs, and then we ask you to spot the ball. And it's, Jerome, have you ever managed to spot the ball?
Every week.
Every week. All right.
Trained eye.
And you, Robert, you've given it a shot once or twice now.
I've done. I haven't been right once. But
yeah, it's me as well. I can never get it.
Jerome's just got that trained eye.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he gets the inside track somewhere. You know? Unfortunately, no Score energy drinks for you, folks. We are going to take a look now at the match bit in Unimog, and of course, for those of you that have just tuned in. There's still a couple coming up at Unimog and Brackenfell and Hamilton's. We've got Robert here with us as well, playing against Hamlets. And don't forget, of course, we're going to take a look at the logs, results, and fixtures. So it's very exciting at the moment. We're back to talking club rugby like we always used to. So don't go away. But now let's take a look at the highlights there. Unimog, of course, against Brackenfell.
The following features brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Right, so halftime there, we just had a look at a couple of the highlights there. 13-0, Jerome. Unimog leading 13-0 going into the second half. Brackenfell come off a big win last week against Falsby. I mean, it's quite a change here.
Yeah, that's the thing is, JP, how do you motivate your guys if you beat the team away like Falsby? How do you motivate your guy for the next game? Because they probably were celebrating and that's not the end, as we say.
Yeah.
Take it game by game, because the season is still long, lots of rugby to play. So it's tough for a coach to get the guys back on track and then come train, and we have to do, because we're playing against another quality side.
Yeah, Robert, we spoke about this last week, where Tinus van Rensburg, head coach of Brackenfell, was saying that to win on any day, if you want to be in Superliga, you need to make sure that every one of the boxes is ticked. And the secret to winning the league is about making sure that every one of the boxes is ticked every weekend. We haven't seen the full-time score yet. Brackenfell still on the table here, but they will be looking in the second half to bounce back.
Yeah, JB, the 13-0 probably you'll take any day against a quality side like Unimog. But it's again, it's how do you come back? What is that halftime chat that Tinus is having there? Because that's what's important. You need to come back. And when you want to tick your boxes, you physically need to do what you prepared for and what the plan is. Yeah. Otherwise, this can either just go downhill.
Let's take a look now, folks. Second half highlights. Unimog against Brackenfell.
The following features brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Right, there we go, folks. Of course, Jerome, did you predict that?
If you look at the first half, yes, I would say you could see how the momentum until the last minute of the first half, Unimog was still in control.
Yeah. Robert, your thoughts on the second half?
I think it was just, again, in this league, Super League, it's who wants it most. And that guy's going to get it. And Unimog is just, they're producing weekend after weekend. Yes, they had a slip up once or twice, but they want to.
But the
And that's the
Brackenfell
difference.
guys had a taste against False Bay. They had a taste what it means to tick all the boxes. Some of the boxes were not ticked. They will know what it is that they need to do in their next game. They will need to emulate the practice of ticking all those boxes like they did against False Bay. I mean, they're going to have to remind themselves if they want to win their next game, and we'll take a look at their fixtures. I mean, I think their next fixture for Brackenfell is against Durban. They're going to want to tick all the same boxes that they ticked against False Bay.
Well, and it's not getting easier for them. It's a tough game. I mean, and it's Durban away.
But they've had the
So
taste of victory now. I mean, they know what it feels like.
But the thing, I think the most important thing for them is now is to work on their set piece, because Brackenfell was known for big scrum, good scrummaging pack, and I think at the end there, Unimog was scrumming them, they were walking with them, they were actually mauling them. So their set piece, the lineouts in the scrums is the most important thing, because that is obviously if Durban analyze this game, that's their focus, and Durban is strong in that.
So this is going to be Brackenfell's next game against Durban. So let's change the caps here. What is Durban thinking now? Because Durban's sitting there thinking these guys just beat False Bay. They went down to Unimog. How's Durban going to read this match coming up? Because they know that it's going to be tough.
It surely can motivate Durban's players and Durban's coaches in saying, look, obviously these guys don't want to lose 2 games in a row. So we're going to have our ducks in a row and prepare well and do what we can do. And I think that will be a tight, the result can go to the end, because both teams are quality teams, and Brackenfell obviously don't want to lose, Durban don't want to lose. So it's going to be tough.
Right, folks, of course, before we carry on, as you know, of course, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. Well, they will be thrilled at the moment because, of course, MChem is the official pharmacy of Western Province Rugby and the DHL Stormers, where the players go to the pharmacy, they get their prescriptions filled, and, of course, it's right up there for the players also to go have a little bit of coffee shop. So who knows, maybe if you go down to MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, of course, they're open 24/7, 7 days a week. You might see one of the Stormers or one of the Western Province Rugby players sitting up there having a coffee or getting one of the other products that they might need at the pharmacy. You'll, of course, remember it wasn't so long ago that we managed to catch up with Alistair from Mark at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. But, folks, on a serious note, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, of course, always there for you. They've got a wide variety of quality products at the best prices, and if they don't have something, they will make sure that they find it for you. Don't forget, they've got a surgical and orthopedic zone downstairs. You can speak there to Sister Miriam. Very important that you speak to someone who's qualified about this information, that especially when it comes to things like braces, you need to have the right product that suits you, that fits you, and is designed to for the right recovery reasons or rehabilitation reasons that you might have. Don't forget, of course, they've got a travel clinic, they've got the nursing sisters on duty, they've got the sports supplement section upstairs, and of course the restaurant and the coffee shop. Don't forget there's an ATM, the ATM in case you need it as well, and free parking. So, I mean, I can't speak enough about MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy and all the benefits that you have there. But as I said, right now, you might bump into one of the DHL Stormers players at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. They're, of course, the current URC champions, and MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is the official pharmacy for the DHL Stormers and Western Province Rugby. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking club rugby. Back in a sec. Don't go away. Folks, you're watching Cape Rugby TV here on Cape Town TV, DSTV channel 263. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. And you can watch us here every Wednesday night from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And of course, on Saturday mornings, our repeat from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We are now a couple of seasons, and I think are we now into season 12? Jerome, 12 seasons of Cape Rugby TV. Would you have thought about that 12 years ago when we said we're going to start off with the Club Rugby TV show?
After that first session there in the observatory, I didn't think I'm going to last two seasons with you, JP.
Jerome, I have a feeling that I've said that I didn't last any seasons with you a few times, but somehow you have managed to stick it out, and you're our legend of the day. But it has been an incredible journey, and many people thought that the show that we wouldn't have legs. And look at what we're doing here. We're talking about 110 clubs playing rugby, 15,000 rugby players in the biggest club rugby structure in the world. I mean, it really is absolutely fantastic against all odds, and we're still going. I don't know, Robert, what your guys say at the clubs, but
our guys love it. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, just to see the banter between the two of you now over 12 years.
I must say, I'm very grateful to the two of you guys. And Jerome, you've been standing by us for all these years without any question. For you guys to take time out of work, time or away to come and sit here with us and deal with me with a club rugby show. Folks, it was, of course, Hamiltons against Hamlets this past weekend. Hamiltons having home ground advantage. Let's take a look at the highlights.
The following features brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Right, folks. Well, Jerome, I mean, I've got the Hamiltons coach here, but that turnover try that we just saw there, turnover ball, Hamlets, that's what Hamlets is known for.
But that's Hamlets,
Yeah.
If you don't watch, if you do a stupid thing and you don't watch them, then it's gone. And I mean, that was from almost behind the try line, and to go score almost a 100-meter try. That's a great try then.
Robert, what were you doing when you saw that happen? What was going through your mind?
No, JP, that's just a coach killer, né?
Yeah.
It's just, but it shows you again, you can never ever underestimate any of your opponents.
Hamlets, this is what we love about your rugby, running rugby. We spoke about this last week. Any of the fans up on the West Coast now that are Hamlets rugby supporters, you will know that, of course, on Cape Rugby, we keep speaking about. In fact, we spoke about this last week, and both Koos Ekstein and Tinus van Rensburg says they don't know how to prepare for Hamlets. It is unpredictable. They play running rugby and they're dangerous from any corner. And we just saw that. You see, how do you prepare for a team that's completely, spreading the ball, planning expression? They're experiencing the rugby. They're having fun. It's Jerome.
It's easy.
You
Don't give them the ball.
Yeah.
If you have the ball, don't give them the ball.
JP, I would like to mention that I spoke to Mr. Passons afterwards, and I have a huge lot of respect for him. This was probably one of the few teams that we've scrummed against that they never did anything illegal to not wanting to scrum. They just they just try and they don't stop. So strongs for the guys that's trying to think how to prepare against them. It's like Jerome said, just keep the ball away from them, and then probably the only thing that will save some tries.
This is raw skill, raw talent, fantastic. And folks, so far we have to say, well, my vote goes to, even though we still only watch the second half, my vote goes to try of the season so far. Let's take a look now at the second half.
The following features brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Right, folks, win then for Hamilton's against Hamlets. Robert, I mean, regardless of the numbers there, you'll be happy to take the points.
Yeah, that was the aim. We ticked those boxes. What we wanted to tick for this game, we ticked. And as I said to you now, it's all about game by game.
Game by game. Yeah, Jerome, at the end of the day, as you said, those boxes need to be ticked to win. You can't play loose rugby at this level, and at the end of the day, Hamilton's walked away having ticked most of the boxes on the day.
Yeah, we've seen that last line out where the Hamilton's hooker overthrow, skew into the hands of Hamlets. There was another try, a drop pass, Hamlets pick up and score. So you can't afford to make mistakes. You will get punished, especially with a team like Hamlets. So, but well done to Hamiltons for, I mean, they stick to their plan and it worked for them.
Right, well, we're going to see right now if we can punish you, Mr. Parvater, as we give you an opportunity to spot the ball in the Score Spot the Ball competition. Robert, I'm going to give you a shot as well to take a look at this. Right, so folks, yeah, we have your opportunity. Of course, every week on Facebook, you're going to have a go at winning yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks. And of course, your opportunity to look at the ball is on A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3, and right. So, Jerome, would you like to give it a shot? Your options are, as I mentioned, A1, A2, A3, B3, C1, C2, and C3.
I'll go B3.
Jerome's going with B3.
I've got this one wrong.
Robert, would you like to give it a shot?
My vote on Facebook is in. I went for A3.
You went for A3?
Yeah.
All right.
I believe if I get it right, it's a double case of score for me.
A double case. All right, folks, let's take a look then at the correct answer. And congratulations. Well, it's nowhere near A1, which is what I thought it possibly was, because that's where the hand is. The ball, in fact, is in A3. All right, so congratulations to this week's winner.
Robert
Connolly
It's not me.
Robert Williams.
No, it's not you, Robert, unless this is your alias. Connolly Josias. Connolly, you walk away with a case of Score Energy Drinks. We'll be in touch with you on Facebook, and make sure that you come to the studio to collect your case of Score. Folks, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up with the logs of results and the fixtures. A bit of analysis with our two experts in studio with us this evening, Mr. Jerome Parvater and Robert Willifree. Back in a second, don't go away. Right, folks, welcome back. Well, it's been, today is a historical show for us. It's the first time, of course, that we're talking about the fact that the DHL Stormers have won the URC Championship. And it's the first time, in fact, that Mr. Jerome Parvater has not correctly predicted the ball in the score competition. It's a unique show. Jerome, let's quickly, for the viewers that maybe just joined us now, let's just talk again about the fact that, and I think we're going to talk about. By the way, folks, we're hoping to get the trophy in studio. One of the things that we mentioned a while back, Jerome, was when you guys won the Curry Cup. We had the Curry Cup trophy in studio. I think we also previously had the Rugby World Cup trophy here. I mean, the trophy itself will now probably be doing the rounds, going to schools, going to visit clubs. Everybody will be looking to take their photo with the trophy.
Yeah, look, yesterday it was open, it was at the HPC, so there were a few people coming, taking photos of the trophy. But I think I must bring the trophy next week, JP, to the studio.
We can't wait. We can't wait. It's quite a unique trophy.
It's a heavy one.
I
don't know if this table is going to handle it.
Yeah.
But luckily, I'm invited, so I'll help you, Jerome.
Folks, it's of course crunch time at the moment. A lot of teams are up and down. Let's take a look at the results from the past weekend in Super League A. Tygerberg with a 36 points to 20 win over NTK. Paarl went down to Kells River, 31-28, very narrow margin. And then, of course, as you saw, Unimog beating Brackenfell 37-7. Hamilton's beating Hamlets, and then Villages beating SK Warmers 22 points to 7. Jerome, Tygerberg will be happy that they're slowly putting the points on the board at the moment.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, it's a good score for them, and I think they keep the score away from NNK, so it will help them at the end.
Yeah, and if we look there, Robert, just from a results point of view in Super League A, Paarl, the margin there between Paarl and Kells River, 31-28. That gap, Paarl also seems to be getting a bit more momentum now in Super League A.
Yeah, and it's the thing. 3-4 weeks ago, you would have seen this as an easy win for Kells River on the high that they were, and yeah. Suddenly now it's a 3-point game. Yeah. Anyone's game at any day, who wants it most? That stays the ultimate.
Well, let's take a look at the logs now in Super League A. Unimog are currently sitting at the top of the pile. UCT and Marty's have still to come. Jerome, both those teams have got a few games in hand. They've played some early matches, obviously, to get ahead of the game. Some of those matches, in fact, accounted from the Varsity Cup. Are the clubs at the moment thinking the university sides are still going to be tough?
I think they will be tough when they come back, JP. They're on a bit of a holiday. Then they go to this USA tournament in Pretoria. So when they come back, then their season starts again. The club rugby season starts again. So I think they will be ready. So it's going to be tough. And if you look at the games in hand that they have, and they're not too far behind the top guys. So it's going to be interesting.
Right, so let's take a look at some of the fixtures coming up then this weekend. Robert, Hamlets is going to be up against NTK. They're travelling again, but Hamlets is a good travelling side.
Definitely. I think Hamlets can play anyone at any day on any field. They'll bring that X factor, and NTK is obviously looking, or maybe more targeting this game than any of the other games that's left.
Yeah, Villages is also on the rise. They're up against Tygerberg this weekend, folks. That's going to be a tough game. We saw Paarl bouncing back. They're up against False Bay. Kells River against Hamilton's. Robert, your thoughts around that? Kells River seems to be in a stable position. They are relatively stable.
Yeah, JP, I think that's that thing that we mentioned earlier about getting into the top 6. We're both there. So I think that's it's a tough one. We're really looking forward to the game. Always lucky to go out to the Keiler, but it's going to be a tough one.
Folks, let's take a look at the results now in Super League B. Big win for Helderberg over Vineyards. Collegians went down to Hands and Hearts. Langa beating Primrose. And then, of course, as you saw earlier on, St. George's 27-9 over Franschhoek. Let's take a look at the logs then. Hands and Hearts are sitting at at the top of the log. They are on 37 points at the moment, followed by Helderberg. But Robert, we spoke about this last week. Helderberg have got 2 games in hand. All Saints is also chasing at the moment. But that point can easily, the 2 games in hand, as we saw, we spoke about this. 2 games in hand for Helderberg. Hands and Hearts have got a 3-point margin at the moment in terms of their top spot. So Helderberg are in a really good position here to challenge.
Definitely. And again, not sure who Hands and Hearts has left to play. Just over middle for them into the season. So I think this is Helderberg's lock it's Helderberg to make this work or not.
Yeah, Jerome, the team that's doing really fantastic on this log and also on the climb this year is Belhar. They've got 2 games in hand. They've played 7 so far. They're sitting on 26 log points at the moment. That's only 11 points behind the log leader with 2 games in hand.
Yeah, they've been doing quite well, and with all that games in hand and where they are, I think they'll be happy. It looks like up until 7 on the log here. We don't know what's going on.
Anyone can win this.
Anyone can go any direction. This is what we love about the club rugby. Well, talking about the matches then, of course, that are coming up this weekend. Goodwood is up against Helderberg. Goodwood has had a tough start to the season, I mean, if we consider where Goodwood is sitting at the moment, they're sitting at the bottom of the log in Super League B, number 15. They haven't put any points on the board yet after 8 games, Robert. And this week they take on Helderberg. They just come off this big win against Vineyards. It's going to be a tough outing for Goodwood.
Yeah, I know exactly what's happening there at Goodwood. I know what the guys like Arthur Treater is putting in there. They're working hard.
Working hard, yeah.
And unfortunately, it's just not coming off for them.
But it is a building phase. It's early days. We're seeing a lot of good things happening at Goodwood. They've got the old boys back there.
Definitely, and that's what's bringing the gears currently at Goodwood. So these guys, they need to. It's going to be a hard game for them. And like we said, tick 1 or 2 boxes that you need to tick in each game, and just get that one. Jerome mentioned it earlier. Just get 1 win. Just get that second win, so that you can just hang on to that feeling and take that forward. And it's a building phase, so hopefully this will pay off next year.
100%, and it is still always going to be about the players and about the fans and keeping the club going. So good games coming up. Then Belhar is up against Busy Bees this weekend. Jerome, Busy Bees also starting to stabilise now, but they got their home. They're playing away against Belhar. You know a lot of the Busy Bees guys. This is going to be an interesting game.
No, it's going to be a tough one, but as we were saying earlier on, JP, there's certain fields that you go to and you know you're going to have your work cut out. So Busy Bees definitely in Belhar, they're going to have to work cut out.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Belleville is up against Collegians this weekend. All Saints also doing well at the moment in Super League B. They're of course sitting at number 3 on the log. They're up against Primrose. Vineyards will be looking to bounce back. They're taking on Young Peoples. And of course St George's against Lunga. Those are your Super League B fixtures. Let's take a look at the results in Super League C. CPUT with a win over Kraaifontein. Blue Jets then beating Wraithby 17 points to 12. We do not have a result for you for the LC's for your Strand United game. Albion's going down to Rangers and Peniel Villages 22-8 over Eerste Rivier. Kylemore with a win over Blue Stars and Macassar. Well, they scored a 3-point win over Morning Star. So well done to Macassar. Folks, let's take a look at the fixtures then coming up this weekend. It's Morning Star up against Peniel Villages. Rangers are taking on Blue Jets. Eerste Rivier and Blue Stars and Strand United against Kraaifontein. In the City League, we saw results there for Gardens 24-13 over Silvertree and Young Ideas 31-25 for you against Caledonian Roses. City League fixtures then coming up this weekend is Silvertree up against Violets, Caledonian Roses against Gardens, and the Western Zebras are up against Ahmadiyas. Quickly, let's look at the results in the Southern League. Retreat going down to Titans 30 points to 10, Northerns 31-19 over Rocklands, and then Peninsula 42-14 over Thistles. Jerome, Robert, Titans has certainly managed to bounce back. They started a little bit slow in the season, but now, of course, already sitting at number 5 on the log, and we're seeing a couple of wins on the table for Titans.
Well, they got 3 games left. If I look at that log like that, meaning that they definitely can play up.
Yeah.
Maybe aim for second and third, and then have a chance against the other 2 at the top.
Yeah. Well, they're taking on Atlantis this weekend. Fixtures, of course, in the Southern League sees Titans up against Atlantis. Thistles take on Northerns, Peninsula and Young Stars and Laguna and Retreat. Northern League results, it was a win for Manenberg Rangers over Whistling Wheels. Blake's beating Excelsior 26 points to 5 and Delft with a win over Windmill United 36-20. Good result there. Northern League fixtures this weekend sees Van der Stel up against Excelsior. Young Wesley's take on Manenberg Rangers. Windmill United against Stellenbosch Coronations. Solarians take on Delft, and of course Blakes are up against Whistling Wheels. Metro League results, of course, in Bishop Lavis going down to Khayelitsha. Look out this weekend for Young Brothers up against Perseverance. And then, of course, in the PAL League, we see some matches back on the cards now. PAL Rangers, 100% strike record. They're sitting at the top of the pile, followed by lower PAL, Young Standard, Simondium. Jerome, the PAL region is all about derbies. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's on each other's doorstep. This weekend is PAL Rangers against Young Standards. Peril United take on Young Gardens, Riverstones and Simondium. It is always close games in the PAL space, but of course PAL Rangers is dominating, lower PAL also dominating. So from a Rangers point of view, Young Standards is going to have their work cut out against them.
Yeah, and I mean they all basically play at Dal Yosefat, which is Saturdays. It's a madhouse there, so that's why I mean the rugby there is like there's so many people. And they just go and enjoy the rugby there, and I think it's also very competitive because they know each other, they live next to each other, they play for different clubs, so it's good competition there.
Robert, thanks for joining us on Cape Rugby TV. It's been fantastic. Good luck for the weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate, always an honor being here with you two gents.
It's great fun.
Thank you.
Jerome, congratulations again to you and everybody at Western Province Rugby on the URC trophy, and we know that you guys have a deserved break, but we also know that you guys don't stop working. Maybe some people rest, but from a management point of view, you've probably got to get back to work.
Yeah, no, I've got to get back to work because we have Craven Week guys, and then also it's good to be sort of back to go and watch club rugby because our season's done. So now we can all put a bit of effort in going and watch club rugby and see who's out there, because we're gonna need at the end of the day again a lot of players, so it's good to go out and watch club rugby.
I think you guys have also got a World Rugby Level 1 coaching course coming up next week.
Yeah,
so
next week, yeah.
It's also fantastic to see that those wheels keep turning. Folks, right, that's a wrap from us this evening. It's all systems go in club rugby. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.